AITAH for not forgiving my military father who thought my mother cheated on him?
I'm 18M.
My father used to work in the military. He had left my mother for a long time, throughout her pregnancy and a good 2 years into my birth. So when he came back, he got a 2-year-old son. He was sure I was not his but this neighbor because the neighbor used to help out my mother. My mother never agreed to a paternity test. Well, he could still have done it, but she was very clear that she will drag him through hell if he did that. She said she did not cheat on him. He has no evidence of it and no reasonable logic behind it. If he can't trust her, then the marriage is over. He can sign her half of his everything and go look for a new wife. He never behaved badly with her. People say he loves her or something. But in his eyes, I was the evidence. He blamed me for everything. He never let me call him dad, never hugged me or picked me up. I have always been an eyesore for him. Somehow, they didn't divorce. But I have always seen them fighting because of me. My father would do something neglectful towards me. My mother would call it out. They would start arguing, and it would end in my mother shouting and crying that does he still believes that she cheated on him. Then my father would apologize and comfort her. But my mother did take care of me, well, until my brother was born. My brother Jack was born when I was 11. Things got worse for me since then. It's not like they were abusing me. He never raised his voice or beat me. I was fed, clothed, tuition fees paid, and I had a roof over my head. But that was all. My mother stopped putting any efforts towards sticking up for me. If he does something mean with me, she would just avoid it. I was the huge pink elephant in the room. Bringing me up would always start a fight. I guess she got tired of constantly fighting for me and chose peace, aka avoiding my existence. He would call Jack his son pointedly at the dining table when I am eating with them. At first my mother used to say, "But Evan is your son too, honey." Now she would just eat silently or change the topic. When introducing to new people, he would say, "This is my son Jack, and this is Evan." He would never show up any event regarding me. I was despised in the community. It's a small town. People would whisper behind my back, "Isn't that the illegitimate boy?" Yeah, poor dude. He was sacrificing his life for the country when his wife was sleeping around. I was very clear that I would move out when I turn 18 and go and see with them. They did not object. My mother said something like, "Oh, but you should visit us sometimes." But he said when I turn an adult, I should also actually be one. I should make my own fortune and not sit around hoping for getting stuff from him. I turned 18 on 27 of last month, and I will go to another state when this month ends. I'll stay at a friend's place there and hopefully find a job. I have saved up some money. It's not much, but I guess I can manage for a few months. Before doing that, I wanted to see the paternity test done. I thought it would give me a sense of closure. My mother also agreed, though reluctantly, when I said I want to do it. Now comes the part that most of you probably have already seen coming. Yeah, turns out I am his after all. Mother is in "I told you so" mod. He is devastated. I guess for all those years wasted on hatred. Poor guy. Now he wants to make up to me. He is begging me to stay. He says he's sorry. He has made a mistake. I am not budging. I'm not letting him which state I'm going, what will I do, or any of my contact info. He didn't feel like keeping them before. He doesn't need to now. I also told him I will never tell my children about him. I will never show him my face as I had promised, and I will never accept anything from him. Well, he has told about this to everyone to convince me to stay, or at least to stay in contact. I told them he's not my father. Everyone is saying I'm being unnecessarily cruel to a person who has made a mistake. It's not his fault. The situation was like that. And now to the second story of the day. AITAH for waking out on my adoptive daughter and telling her everything is her fault. So I, 36F, have 2 kids, a boy Tom, 5, and a Sarah daughter, 18, plus my husband's late brother's kid, 16F, Kelly, who lives with us. 14 months ago, my husband came home with Kelly and said she would be staying with us for a while. I barely knew Kelly because since her father passed away 10 years ago, her mom has been struggling with mental health and addiction. Apparently, Kelly was in a bad situation at home due to her mother's new boyfriend being a, let's say, not-so-nice person. He told me it was only for 3 months, while his parents who recently moved aboard got settled. Then it went of 5 till his sister had her baby, just excuse after excuse till I stopped asking. As time went on, my husband just acted like she was our daughter, even bringing up adoption a few times, which I refused even when he threatened divorce. I know I sound like a monster, but you have to realize Kelly isn't easy to deal with, and my husband doesn't allow her to face any kind of consequences. Kelly acts like she is the golden child and my daughter is the black sheep. She has violent meltdowns. She's threatened our son that my husband will leave us if she tells him because he loves her more, which traumatized Tom. She has tried and failed her mind games with me, pretending to be a saint. Her main target is my daughter. She is extremely cruel towards her verbally, like she'll slut-shame her for everything, little thing like wearing makeup, or tell her she's lazy/good for nothing for stupid reasons like sleeping late at the weekends. She'll take her things, either will lost them or destroy them, then cry to my husband, who will excuse her behavior even though he spends 70% of his time at work. We are all in therapy, which isn't working like group sessions. When someone points out Kelly's behavior or adoption, usually end up with everyone fighting. It all came to a head last month. Kelly was in a mood all week because Sarah had a big 18th party with all the attention on Sarah, especially from my family, which Kelly said mentioned in therapy. Myself and Sarah were having a stupid fight over a non-issue because Sarah used all my shampoo, which she didn't replace or let me know I was out of. Kelly came out of nowhere screaming at Sarah, calling her a moocher, lazy, trash, and spoiled. She then said Sarah was an adult now, and she didn't pull her weight, she'd get kicked out. I lost it. I told her Sarah was my daughter, and if she didn't change her attitude, she'd be the one kicked out. Kelly didn't say anything, just went into her room. About an hour later, my husband came back, then started screaming literally on my face, calling me names, telling me he wants a divorce so he can protect Kelly. So I said, okay, I want a divorce and 50/50 custody. I get my son, he gets his niece. Now get the fuck out of my house with his niece. They left and have been staying with his brother since. Husband now has to deal with Kelly all the time. He wants more therapy to fix our issues so we can get back together and be a family again. They both came over yesterday to collect the last of their stuff, and Kelly asked me, was it her fault? I said yes, it was just as much her fault as her uncle's. Husband told me I'm being a monster and Kelly is my daughter whether I admit it or not, and I've abandoned her when she finally had a stable home. That she doesn't mean to lash out, it's just due to her trauma, and if we work together we can help her work through it. Honestly, now I don't know what to do and feel like an asshole.